Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the East Cocalico Board of Supervisors meeting to order for Thursday, December 15th. Please join me for the pledge. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I would just like to say, as always, please double check electronic devices, make sure they're on vibrate or they're off just so they don't ring during the meeting. We also have a request that anyone who wishes to comment or ask questions that is on live on Zoom, you need to please provide your full and complete name so we have the name for the meeting minutes. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Technicon Enterprises Incorporated. They have some information they'd like to tell us.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just to introduce myself, I'm Michael Reiner from Technicon Enterprises. I'm the Vice President and Municipal Services Manager for them. The reason I'm here tonight is basically just to provide you with a brief introduction. As you know, we've been serving the township the past year as your sewage enforcement officer, your building inspector, and also your zoning officer. Unfortunately, I haven't had the previous opportunity to introduce myself to you before. A lot of my time I had spent dealing with Sharon Young. Obviously, with her leaving, I felt it was appropriate to get in front of you as supervisors and just put my name and a face to our company name in case you have any questions or comments about any of the services that we provide. I will provide you with a few business cards for you. If you do have any questions at any point in time, again, I don't want to take up a whole lot of your meeting time tonight, but you can certainly reach out to me by phone or email. I also want to extend that if you ever have a desire to have the building inspector or the zoning officer attend one of your meetings, you have a zoning issue or a building issue that you would want to discuss at a public meeting, we certainly provide that service to you as well. That's entirely up to you, whether or not you would have that, you would need that availability of one of the inspectors present at your meetings. So again, I just wanted to put that forth to you tonight. Entertain any questions that you have, and if not, just wish you a Merry Christmas. And I really appreciate the appointment and look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's nice to put a face to a name finally.
I figured it was
all the emails.
So
yeah.
Very good.
Great.
So unless you have anything, I'll excuse myself and just wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, announcement of executive sessions. So we had an executive session on December 5th of 2022. It was a phone call from 4 until approximately 5:35 p.m. That was for personnel related to the township manager search. We had another executive session on December 7th of 2022. That was from 3 till approximately 4:20 p.m. That was in person, and that was, again, personnel related to the township manager search. On 12/8 of 2022, we had an informational meeting only. There were no decisions, no deliberations whatsoever. The informational meeting involved the Board of Supervisors as well as Becker Engineering. Present in that meeting were Brett, Casey, and Dan Becker. That meeting went from 2:30 until approximately 3:45. On December 8th, same day, later that evening, from 8 till approximately 8:25 p.m., we had an executive session related to personnel for township manager search. Then on December 13th of 2022, from 7:15 until approximately 7:50 p.m., personnel matter, township manager search related. And then on December 15th of 2022, earlier this evening, we had an executive session from 6:15 until 6:40 p.m. And that was a police personnel matter. And we just had another quick executive session from 6:50 until approximately 6:55, and that it was related to a police personnel matter. Okay, so action items, land planning and engineering.
Yes. We have to, you have meeting minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have so many notes here. Thank you. So we have the past meeting minutes for approval, gentlemen.
The only thing I found is on page 3, under Financial Administrator, Board of Assessment of Appeals, the millage rates. We had seen an email earlier in the week. The deadline is actually 12/16/2022, which is tomorrow. Meeting minutes say 2023. So just to be precise, that would need to be changed to 12/16/2022.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a
That
motion to
change.
approve Thursday, December 1st, 2022 Board of Supervisor meeting minutes with the change to page 3 under Financial Administrator. The date is 12/16/2022.
Okay, we have a second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, none, motion carries. I do apologize, I'm gonna back up for 1 second here. I do want to formally announce that this meeting was duly advertised in the Lancaster newspaper on December 1st, 2021. I apologize, I should have done that. Okay, so action items, land planning and engineering, Casey.
All right, first up, Walmart subdivision plan. This is a subdivision of a 69-acre farm off Fulton Road. 2 lots, one almost 22 acres, the other one 47.5. The applicant's consultant recently worked through the DEP sewage planning module packet. The township DCB had signed it, the SEO had signed it. So there's 2 motions here before you tonight, one for a time extension, one to adopt the planning module revision. Lisa had given me a resolution number 18. So unless there's any further questions, I can read the 2 motions before you tonight. First one, motion to accept the written time extension as submitted by the applicant's consultant dated November 29th, 2022, which will extend the deadline for action on the Walmart subdivision plan an additional 60 days until February 14th, 2023.
Okay, and you did not expect anyone tonight for that one?
I think we do.
Oh, okay, great. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Are there any comments or questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, none, motion carries. Thank you.
And the second one would be a motion to adopt the sewage facilities planning module revision, DEP code number 83-36924-248-2, as signed by the Township SEO and submitted by Fear Associates for the Walmart subdivision, 230 Bolton Road, as resolution 2022-18, and authorize the municipal secretary to sign all associated documentation for submission to DEP for review. And I believe that Lisa has prepared that document for submission.
Yeah, so I'll make that motion.
And I will second that one. Okay, any comments or questions on that motion? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
The next one doesn't require any action. We had this on the agenda, as there was some discussion of the Black Horse developer planning to attend the next ongoing meetings. So they are not here tonight. They had indicated that they did not feel it necessary to be here. Just an update there. They recently got back their Lancaster County Conservation District deficiency letter for the FES permits. They will have to resubmit there. They did submit a draft agreement, developer's agreement to Matt in his office We just got updated plans yesterday, electronically submitted to us. It is a much more simplified version of plans, does not include any detail or any aspects on the township property. We will be coordinating with Jan and Matt next week to go over some items related to that project. And as now, we're awaiting any future updates from the developer. So no action required on that course. Just figured I'd update you on the most recent things that just came in yesterday and today.
And in general, we're tracking on the same plan that we discussed with them the last time they appeared.
Great.
We're looking at a revised preliminary plan that, as Casey says, scales back to the site and the site access. But we're looking ahead at this point to some indefinite plan that would include the relocation of Hill.
Yeah, I don't think they've completed their traffic impact study yet with PennDOT, so that's a big item yet remaining. They're very actively working on the project, and we're waiting for updated info.
And we're responding quickly. Again, I got a draft developers agreement yesterday, reviewed it and responded. Becker got revised plans yesterday, and I think Brett sent out at least 2, maybe 3 emails commenting.
So we're all actively working on that one. The developer is trying to get this one and all his T's crossed and I's dotted as good as we can. So unless there's any further questions, I'll move on to the next item.
Are you aware of any preliminary site work being done there currently, or?
Thinking of it's not preliminary, the only site work that had been done was the demolition, raising of the existing buildings and a stockpile of concrete material to be used as backfill in the future.
Okay.
So that's all that we were aware of, and they were permitted for those raisings by the township.
And the expectation is they wouldn't be permitted for anything until a preliminary plan is approved.
And they would still need an NPDES permit, which they have. They have deficiency legislation takes into
Right.
place.
Fair enough.
Dormicavo's in Reestown. They had an expansion project, recently submitted as-built plans. The project has been constructed and completed. We had some correspondence with the applicant design engineer. There are some minor things that still need to be wrapped up as part of that project. So the motion for Dormicavo will be to authorize a $263,361.06 reduction in financial security for the Dormicavo building expansion, preliminary final land development plan, resulting in the financial security being reduced to $20,000 per the Becker email dated December 12th, 2022.
I'll make that motion.
You didn't expect anyone for that. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any comments or questions on that project? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries.
All right, on Monday, next up, Earth, Turf, and Wood. On Monday, we were contacted by the owner about his financial security. He had gotten a notice of termination denial letter from the Conservation District for some basin plantings, and had asked us to try and get him on the board's agenda. So we updated our engineer report as such for this week. So the motion here would be to, and he would like to take away his letter of credit and put forward a cash escrow in lieu of. So Matt and I coordinated this motion to read what I'm about to read to you. Motion will be to authorize a reduction of $11,449 for current financial security for Earth, Turf, and Wood preliminary final land development add-on plan, resulting in a remaining financial security of $2,000. To authorize the release of existing letter of credit conditional on a cash deposit by Earth, Turf, and Wood in the amount of $2,000, which shall be held by the township in a non-interest bearing account, and authorize the future release of the $2,000 remaining financial security upon the township receiving a receipt from the NPDES permit determination process by the LCCD. I know there's one large run-on sentence, but those are essentially the conditions.
And simplifies everything down to the bare minimum for them. There's some cost savings to them and no risk to the township. In fact, enhanced, cash is always good.
And by wording the motion that way, there's no agreement necessary, an additional agreement like some others may put forth. So that's why there's a lot of words there in that motion.
Okay,
The only reason, reading through your your engineer report, the only reason we're keeping that is because we gotta wait until, I guess, May for the grass in the basin to get higher or something. I guess they were mowing it too low.
Yeah, I think there were some areas that hadn't grown out, where that has been mowed. And the conservation district basically says that needs to be per plan maintained, per the plan, the notes from the plan, the notes from the O&M agreement, the recorded O&M agreement, so that they wouldn't close out the MPDS permit, and as part of every single project that gets closed out that has an MPDS permit, a condition of getting the remaining financial security is close out of the MOT. And oftentimes, as you'll hear these motions, that is very often, almost always the last step for an MPDS project.
I will make that motion.
and I will second that. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. That motion carries.
And that concludes the land planning engineer action items. Unless there are any further questions, see you guys in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Casey.
Yes.
Okay, next item we have is the zoning amendment petition proposal.
That's the Hoover truck repair. If it's your preference, you could at this time schedule a hearing date. It has been referred to the county and township planning commissions for review and comment. They'll be able to act within the time frame if we were to look to schedule it in February. Okay. You're under no time limitation or dictate on when you schedule it, but that's about what we were thinking would be the approximate date, sometime in February.
So would our meeting be in the second meeting in February? That would be
The 16th. Everybody has their calendars, where are they?
yeah, it'd be the 16th. That's what I have.
So the motion would be to schedule the legislative hearing for February 16th and authorize the solicitor to provide public notice.
Okay. And I will make that motion, gentlemen.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any questions or comments on that one? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries. Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Okay, the farming lease, Andy Rutt reimbursement.
Is that you, Ken, or is that me?
Either, go ahead.
Okay. There was, as the board's aware, last year there was some land taken away for farming purposes here on the property. Ken did some recalculations. We approved the new lease at the last meeting. However, the recalculations perhaps should have been done a year ago. Mr. Rutt did not have the whole property this year to use because of other reasons. Ken's MS4 project took some away, and there's some land out front that was just too wet to be usable. So based on that recalculation by Ken for next year, this year should have been the same thing. So to be fair to Mr. Rutt, we thought that there should be a return and a partial return of some of the funds. He was not able to use the land as originally calculated. So that's the action item here tonight. And I guess we have a motion for that. Do you have any questions on that?
What was the amount, Jeff?
Oh, Judy.
$569.
Yeah.
Do you have that there?
I don't know anything about this.
It was, you have that?
You have that?
I'm sorry, it's not in the motion list.
See if I can find it real
You
quick.
you got it in your pocket, Ken?
Sadly, no.
All right. We'll get it all together someday. It was over $500.
Trying to find it, man.
Oh, okay, so we're also doing the 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I guess you didn't get to use it, so.
Yeah, it wasn't usable this year. So, it was through Ken's calculation that we determined that was too much that he paid.
Or should, it was in the resolution for the 2023 budget. That email at 10:47 this morning. What we're doing next year, we gotta do it this year too.
To be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair.
So what was that total there?
$569.
569.
So then the motion would be to authorize the
Yeah,
reimbursement
I see it.
to Andy Rutt in the amount of $569.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second on that one. Do we have any comments or questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, right to know officer appointments. So Sharon was the right to know officer, so we're going to have to discuss
Lorenzo is a good idea.
the right to know officer cover for that.
My proposal for that, gentleman, not the chief. My proposal for that would just be, I don't wanna put more work on Judy, Lisa, or Shirley, or the chief, since it's an interim thing. I think we, hand it off to our attorneys for now, for the next, month, or whatever. it's gonna
Time
be.
period for the next
Or
time.
next time period, yeah, undetermined time.
And that's frankly typically the way we operate when the right to know officer is on vacation, sick, in the hospital. We step in to make sure that we hit the time deadlines.
Yeah,
That's my recommendation, I don't know what you guys think.
I think that makes sense.
Okay,
You're happy, right?
Well, I'm more than willing to help whenever it's needed for the police department matters. Obviously, you're gonna be contacting me anyway, and if there's anything I can do otherwise, but that initial, so it doesn't get missed, should probably go.
I agree.
so I'll make a motion, and I will make a motion that we appoint Nicholas Hohendale, our current solicitor, the right to know officer for East Cocalico Township.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any questions on that? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay. So, we are at resolution 2022-19, tax rates for 2023. So, before we do that, I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda to place resolution 2022-19, which is the tax rates to be set for the municipality for calendar year 2023. Do we have a second?
I second that, sorry.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so, gentlemen, we had part of this discussion last time, so we need to decide what we are doing here. Tax rates.
Yeah, I guess, I was probably the one on the board who did not express too many of my feelings about this. I think the board actually needs to have some conversations about a few of these different budget items that didn't happen in the budget meetings. One of them is, it's coming up later in the agenda, about the building expansion here. We haven't talked with the authority in any official way about who's gonna pay for, a large expansion to this building, or even if it's gonna happen. But at the same time, it's a big amount of money that's talked about being spent, and it's not in our budget for next year. And frankly, I'd like to know what the thoughts are, where that's going. I don't know, gentlemen, if you got any input on that. There's conversation, $400,000 or $500,000 or more. The authority last week, I guess it was last Thursday, had a bid meeting, largely attended bid meeting. How many people would you think were? A lot. This room was full, from what I heard of, I guess, contractors looking to bid on a building extension here. So, what's the board's thought where this is gonna go, I guess?
My thoughts are quite simple. The authority has not formally approached this board with any request, any numbers, any discussions, any timelines. These have all been discussions in the hallway as people pass each other. So how do we plan for something that we have zero information on right now, realistically, besides passing conversations?
Yeah.
And how do we burden the taxpayers with an increase on an item that we have no data on yet, no hard data? Yeah. I mean, I just don't see how that can happen.
Yeah, no, and to that point, I totally agree, but it's coming right around the corner to us, and if the board were to agree to spend the money, where would it come from?
What money would we be spending? Nobody has any, I have not seen.
I have not either.
Have you seen projections on what the costs are?
I have not. Only hallway talk, as you say.
So what money would we be spending? So we're literally, as a municipality, going to make a decision for the taxpayers based off of, again, conversations in the hallway.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, the variable is what, 0 to what, 400,000, 500,000, a million, 10 million? If that's the reason for a tax increase, I still don't see the justification.
Well, I didn't go there with that, but I just wanted to know what our board's thoughts were. Where, if we were to go get the money, where would it come from out of the budget?
Perhaps, like RC kind of said too, until we see something, it's kind of hard to make the determination. Now, to your point though, we have two projects that we're waiting on grant money for, which is right out here, or the White Oak Bridge.
Stormwater issues, yeah.
Stormwater issues that we're waiting on grant match money, I think, correct? Out there, and we don't know if we're gonna get it yet. Perhaps we should also be discussing that, where we'll be getting the money from if they don't match it. I know we have some ARPA funds put aside for that, hoping that they match it, the county matches it, but if they don't, that's a conversation to be had. I mean, I personally had some ideas too. I don't know if we get look for a loan for that, or depending on what it is, if we don't want to touch our reserve, or, but we're in tough times right now. And me personally, like, with the tax increase that was on our budget, the whole entire budget, meetings we had, I think was 2.5%.
That's what we had,
As a placemaker.
yes.
And roughly it's, $45,834. Our township financially is in good shape. I think we've done our due diligence this year, and we're gonna have a nice surplus at the end of this year.
So let me add, I'm sorry, you're done, because I was gonna add something to what you just said.
Not yet, but go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, go ahead.
We have a nice surplus for the end of 2022. We are budgeting more for 2023, of course. The market, it's a tight market for salaries. So we had to come up to par on a lot of our employees. But with the surplus from 2022, I feel like we'll be able to cover that increase, and the $45,834 ain't gonna make that big of a difference for us. Me personally, I speak for myself, not the board, because we haven't voted on it yet. You go to the store, lettuce is $10 a head. Go to the gas pump, gas is $5 a gallon. We are all hurting in one way, shape, or form. And if I can keep the $45,000, $45,834 to be exact, in our taxpayers' pockets, that's my goal, at least for this year. Go ahead.
So, thank you for finishing your thought. What I was gonna add in what you were saying was, let's take a step back. We have a fund balance as a municipality. At the end of 2022, we're on target to have a fund balance of roughly $3.3 million. You're over $3 million, let's just say, sitting in the bank doing what with that money? What do you do with that, right? So if we're being fiduciaries, in my mind, we have to find the right balance. To your point, Lorenzo, you gotta find the right balance of, at what point do we need a tax increase because we don't have the revenues in place? I hate that word, by the way, for the public. It's a tax. You don't have the taxes in place, and you don't have the reserves in place that you think you might need for the future. We have the reserves in place. Nobody can tell me what we're using these funds for. These funds continue to grow. So when do we start, to answer your question, Jeff, when do we start using these funds? Somebody has to give me an answer, because I've never heard it. Is when it hits 5 million, 10 million, 20 million in the bank, 50 million in the bank, 100 million in the bank? When do we actually use those funds? right? In addition to that, like I said, there's a lot of things in the budget for next year that we have $200,000 set aside on the MMO. The pension committee hasn't decided. That was a reserve for a catastrophic event in the market or something. We still haven't decided how to allocate that money. We haven't decided if we're going to, or we haven't decided if at $200,000 a year we did that because that was excessive. Should the proper number be for allocating for future MMO requirements? Should it be $50,000 per year set aside? We set an exorbitant amount of money aside. So there's that sitting there. So again, when I look at this, Jeff, I can't in my mind justify it. The other thing that I will say is, I said this last time, I'm gonna say it again. When I came on board in 2019, we did a 5-year plan with massive projections for 5 years. We took 5 years, rolled them backwards, and said, where do we need to be at year 5, year 4, year 3, year 2, year 1, and that's how we did the budget, and we rolled it backwards. We now have visibility for 12 months. So that makes things very difficult. We're looking at a 12-month view right now. We've gotten away from the 5-year view. Should be a 5 and 7 and 10-year view. I've been saying this for 5 years. Because when you have a 5, 7, and 10-year plan and you do the strategic analysis of where you have to be and you roll it backwards, that's when you have a very good idea of where your next 12 months are going to be, because then you know what those projects are in a 5, 7, and 10-year projection. So I agree with you. I'm just looking at it from a different perspective. I completely agree with you. 47 or
45,800.
yeah, I'm looking for the numbers. Yeah, $45,000 again. Just I don't see it. Mathematically, I've done these projections, I've run my own analysis, I just don't see it.
One thing I do want to add to it, just because I think I should. I put a lot of thought into it personally, and the more you think about it, the more you drive our roads. You know, some of our roads need work, obviously, okay? So we have to look at the big picture. Where do we see ourselves in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now? If you read the paper, you see, you know, there's boroughs next to us that they raise their taxes. We are one of the lowest in the area.
The lowest in the Cocalico School District.
But we also are considered the gateway of the area as well. So sooner or later, we will have to raise taxes somewhat to get up to par, right? Now's not the time. And I totally agree. This year with what has gone through the past, you know, we went through with COVID and all, plus all this, you know, everything's skyrocketed. It's not the right time.
By the way,
I'm looking down the road. I like saying things for how they are. You know, I'm not gonna hide back here and pretend like I'm not keeping my thought. I just want to be straight up honest. I'm not saying this year or next year. It could be the third in 3 years. But a tax increase is gonna end up happening if we want to keep our community looking top notch. I'm looking to live here long term, as many of you guys as well. I don't want to drive on a road where all of a sudden the road's falling apart, my car goes flying off the road. I don't think any of you guys want that either.
by the way, we never finalized the gateway to Lancaster County. We never got agreement on that in 2019.
Work in progress. Never give up.
That's part of that strategic plan.
Never give up.
Never finalized.
Don't hurt the dream.
Yeah, I guess to further comment on that, you know, I don't know that any of us saw 8% or 8.5% inflation this year. It's hit the township hard in some different ways. You know, our increase in salaries year on year in the next year, it's over $140,000. You know, that's a big number, but it's factual. You know, something stupid like road salt, it's not stupid, it's necessary. I shouldn't say that. But the price of that went from $52.50 a ton up to $79. You know, inflation's here, it's coming. You know, I'll believe that the feds are actually going to get it under control when I see it. But you know, it's something we have to deal with in the meantime. I guess, Judy, the county had talked about, you know, making their ARPA designations somewhere in this week. We had a request in for some stormwater. There was nothing heard yet back from them as far as you know.
I wanna say that the workshops are tomorrow, the 16th.
Okay,
So that is when they'll be discussing them in a public forum.
yeah, I think Ken, wasn't some of that matching grants that, yeah, we had ARPA money designated.
Was come out of the county ARPA funds, and the other half was come out of the township ARPA funds.
I believe it was around $315,862. 50% paid by the township and hopefully 50% by the county ARPA money.
Was that just the one project or both?
That's both of them.
Okay. You know, it's my thought that, you know, there's definitely a liability issue with the one bridge down there. I think you did an analysis on that, didn't you, Lorenzo? With Ken, I saw some pictures.
I won't take that responsibility. I make pizzas for a living, I'm not a bridge inspector.
But anyway, you know, it's a constant flooding problem down there, and one of our fire chiefs said there's water rescues been happening there on White Oak Road. I know in the past, your officers, chief, will barricade that road when it floods to try and keep people out of there. You know, I think it's an ongoing issue that ought to be addressed, but there again, we're looking at some significant funds. It's the same thing out here from the township building. We were meeting, last year, one time in the summer, and you couldn't get across that with anything. There was so much water right out here at this stormwater pipe.
They wanted to see you swim, that's why.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't tell anybody to go into that. That was, it was up over the driveway, I think, down here to the police station. So, you know, I think it's a necessity here in the future to get these issues addressed. None of that was budgeted, but, you know, there's significant cost structure there. You know, I agree with your analysis. That's a significant chunk of money to be sitting there to be carrying year on year.
And it keeps growing.
But there's other municipalities that, you know, they'll keep a quarter to half of their budget in reserves. You know, I've never heard from anybody what that right number on a budget percentage is, but you see that throughout the county and beyond, because you never know when a disaster is going to hit. Something that would require significant money to be thrown into it, so.
Well, and Jeff, keep in mind, when you say that, keep in mind also, that's when we have the insurances too. When things like that happen, we actually have the insurances for certain catastrophic events, right? It's a very complex formula, that has a lot of variables.
Yeah, agreed. And, you know, I like to be on the conservative side to have sufficient funds put away. I watched this board years ago buy multiple pieces of equipment that just, they never put funds into it. It was just a a lease purchase, and, we're still paying some of that off today. We're still got a significant chunk of money that we're paying back on a yearly basis for the Denver Road Bridge. All this is real numbers that are going out the door in the budget. So, I think the board seems like they've made their intentions clear that both my board mates are looking for no tax increase, and I think it's important that the board be unanimous on this decision. So I'll agree to follow along with that.
Wait a minute, I have different thoughts now. Question from the public. There's a question.
I'm sorry, one moment. So then I will make a motion that we keep the tax mill rate exactly the same for 2023 as it is in 2022.
That is?
That is 1.768. Pull up my model here.
It's written right here on the resolution.
I know, I just want to
Double check.
I want to double check. I've got my models here to make sure. Yep.
First year on the board, I'll second it, I guess. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Now, any comments or questions? Yes, sir.
We have two of them. What about the roundabout?
I'm sorry, name please.
Name is Kerry Hobbs. What are we doing with the roundabout up there at 272? Is that a go or not?
I'm sorry.
Is that a go or not? Go.
That is not in the budget for 2023.
Okay.
It's not a budget item.
Is state roads involved here? Okay. Church Street is a state road, 272 is a state road. How much is the state gonna take care of?
We're talking about budgets.
Yeah, we're discussing budget right now, and Mr. Haas, what I had said to you before was, we don't know, we don't have those projections, because the only thing we have at this point was just a concept of what it would look like. So we're nowhere near that far down the road of understanding that.
Now, number two. We have money in the bank. What are we gonna do with the border crossings? All the illegals coming in, which flew in already. How many plane loads came in the Scranton area, and how many buses came in to the Philadelphia area? What's the township gonna do if we get flooded?
I will say that what we're focusing on right now in East Cocalico Township as a board is the budget for 2023 in terms of the factors that we can control as a municipality, that we are able to control, work with, and diligently make sure we meet the fiduciary requirements of the municipality. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Alan Maxwell. I've got two questions. One, at last meeting, Mr. Chairman, you made a comment about having a $600,000 surplus at the end of this year. Now we're looking at a $3.3 million fund balance. Was any discussion made during the budget process of using some of that money to offset the cost so our budget wouldn't be affected as strongly?
I'm not following your question.
You said we're going to have a $600,000 surplus at last meeting, meaning extra money at the end of the year. Now you mentioned that we're going to have a $3.3 million fund balance. That's money sitting in the bank that could be used, correct?
Mm-hmm.
During the budget process, was there any discussion made to use some of those funds to offset the budget, maybe take on some projects that are in the budget that we don't have to pay for because the money's already there?
My recollection is we did not. we did not actually look at any major projects. I think I understand your question now. So from my recollection, gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong here, we did not look at the general fund balance and look at and assign a portion of that money to any of these larger projects which may come down the road. Did I answer your question?
A follow-up question would be why? If we know the money's sitting there and we need the money, we can offset our budget.
I think there's an important point that maybe is getting missed here, and Judy might be able to address that. Just because there's a fund balance there doesn't mean it's constant throughout the year. A lot of that money will dip down sometimes till spring taxes come in. You know, that balance.
That's more cash flow than fund
So it
balance.
fluctuates, okay.
So, the fund balance is set what fund balance is, it's an accumulation of years of collecting more revenues than we have expenditures. We did do a little analysis for the last 10 years, and it seems to be roughly about 300 to 350,000 surplus every year. Some years have been different, but that's an average. And that's how we build up to this 2,979,000 that we had at the beginning of 2022. We're adding about 360,000 to that through this year. So the beginning of 2023, that's where we come up with that 3.339.
Since it fluctuates, it's not necessarily a viable source to use for funding of things.
It is because fund balance is money in the bank. It is money in the bank. It's not the fluctuations. The fluctuations is cash flow. Like Mr. Mitchell said, you know, we generally don't have much cash flow from January to March, but in April, we get the majority of the money that we need in one shot for the rest of the year. So we'll peak maybe at cash balances of 3.5 million, but then by the end of the year, that'll dwindle down to like 2.1 million, and then it'll build back up. But that fund balance is there to use for projects. But once you use it, it's gone.
Right.
So you need to be smart about it.
So let me add to that also, okay? So the projects that are on the books, the things that we're looking at in the next 12 months, those are in the budget. Those we have allocated in the budget, okay? I think the bigger question that you're asking is the question that I have been asking for 5 years. And quite frankly, I can't get the culture to understand we should be working on a 5, 7, and 10-year roadmap. Because when you have that roadmap in place, you work your way backwards. Same thing we do in corporate on strategic roadmapping. You work your way backwards, and then I believe what you're saying is, then I can tell you of that fund balance. I see this project coming up in 23. I see this project, and this project coming up in 24. In 25, I see one project coming. In 26, I see 3 to 4 projects coming. In 27, I see one project coming. That's how I believe we should be looking at it. But that is an exponential jump in the thought process for, I believe, even municipalities as a whole.
One place where that's being put into place is there's a major infrastructure planned over in Meadowbrook development there. The authorities looking at replacing stormwater and I think sewer pipe as well. While they're in there working, I'm not sure, I think our roadmasters talked about some stormwater piping that we're gonna have to be dealing with. So he's looking down the road a year or two for that for us. So that's one of the areas where there is some long range planning going on. You know, we still have stormwater lining projects lined up for the next couple of years. Down in the Reamstown Heights area, I guess it is, Ken, and others as well. There's quite a few different things set up in the next few years that are getting planned for. There is some talk about having some of this extra capital reserve there for that purpose.
So I guess follow-up question I have in regard to the 5, 7, 10-year plan. As supervisors, we've asked you to lead the township. Would it not be your role to sit down, come up with these plans, and then propose it to the township for
Absolutely.
adoption? Why hasn't that happened?
It was done in 2019. It was laid out.
And we're not following
The
that
prior
plan now,
board, the
or-
prior board was following it to a T. We had the roadmaps laid out. That's how you have the community first logo out there. Second part of that was the gateway to Lancaster County and the implications there, and we were doing that. At that time, we even did what had never been done before. We led, the chief, myself, and the prior manager led a detailed analysis of the police department, to where the police department, for the first time in East Cocalico's history, we had the true carrying cost per officer. Carrying cost, not the salary of an officer, the true carrying cost assigned to an officer. And we had all those projected out, chief, over 5 years. Everything was there.
I guess to his point last year we did an OPEB study, which looked at for the whole length of retiring officers that will be eligible, the cost to the taxpayers of the health care for them, all the way to 2050 something.
Right, that was part of the pension.
And yeah, so, we have a fairly good roadmap of what those costs are, and they get into the six figures for the retirees. So it's kind of, when you see what salaries are, well, it's not just salaries, there's longevity costs. Yeah, so.
So to finish my point, to answer your question directly, there were some changes of board members that didn't see fit that should be looked at or followed. So it's a
pretty new board sitting up there. I would highly believe the three of you could come up with a 5, 7, and 10-year plan in the next few months. I mean, I'm being honest, you're all three very smart gentlemen, businessmen. I believe the three of you could do that, because we're coming to the end of your 5-year plan.
I couldn't do that with a staff of 17 when I was at high tech. It takes some time.
It takes a willingness to do it as well.
Would you be willing to do that for us?
I would be willing to help out, yes. Any resident that's worth their salt should be willing to help out to move our township forward. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate the answers.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second to keep the millage rate the same at 1.768. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, none, motion carries. Okay. So I would also like to make a motion at this time to place onto the agenda the adoption of the proposed budget for 2023. Now that we have the millage done. So I have a motion, do we have a second?
What is it? Yeah, I'll second that, yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none, motion carries. Okay, so,
At this point, I would like to make the motion, authorize Judy to confirm the tax rate with the board, as tomorrow's the deadline.
yes. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize Judy Loomis to confirm the tax rate to the Board of Assessment of Appeals Office of Lancaster by 12/16/2022, which is tomorrow.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, none, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so now we have the proposed budget for 2023. So, you make a motion for approving the budget?
You want, you have to add anything to that, or you good to make the motion?
Oh, I'm all right with it. Good.
Yeah.
I will make a motion to adopt resolution 2022-20, the 2023 budget for East Cocalico Township.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second for the adoption of the budget. Any comments or questions on that one?
What is our budget?
I'm sorry,
What is the
name
total?
please.
Alan Maxwell.
Judy, you have the updated number there.
I do have the updated number.
It's
So the
Change.
the changes from the advertised are, no millage increase, the reduction in the rent revenue for the farmland lease. There is a reduction in expenses because the tax collector and treasurer bond premiums were paid in 2022, that's $8,500 less. There's an additional expense for the police department of $10,800 for the body camera maintenance. There is the increase to the donation to the library of $5,000. And we did finally get the renewal on the insurance, and there is a reduction in the expense of $8,618. So revenues on the general fund, find them. Actually, I go to the bottom, there's a summary.
We don't discuss the insurance, that is premature.
That's premature.
Just announced reduction in their insurance.
No, it will be, because, yeah.
They haven't agreed to yet. We've had to vote to change
Correct,
providers.
because that's the budgeted amount. So the number, so that number is actually, I believe, will come in lower, so that's the budgeted, that's okay.
It's being announced as a reduction in the overall number.
That's correct, but the reduction might be even more based on Judy and I discussing that. For the
And that is
insurance,
with Kilmer.
that's what Kilmer, that's the
Kilmer
insurance.
renegotiated,
Oh, this is a
The
Kilmer number.
correct. This is the Kilmer number, not the
So-
McGowan number.
Yeah, so to answer your
Okay,
question.
all right, that's, now I'm good
You
now.
good now?
I didn't know,
Yes, sorry.
I thought we were talking now.
No, sorry. Yeah, we budgeted it with Kilmer.
Okay, fair enough.
So for revenues, the budgeted revenue amount is $6,553,164. Budgeted expenses are $6,956,570. There is a net deficit for the budget for 2023 of $403,406. And those would be the budget numbers. That deficit will be covered by fund balance.
Okay, any other comments or questions on that one? Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second for the adoption of the proposed budget for 2023. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none, motion carries. Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Thank you, Judy.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. You did a lot of good work there, with no help from a manager, as in previous years you did, so, that was a monumental task. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping us organized through that whole process.
And on time.
On time and cracking the whip. Okay, police department reports, chief.
Good evening. Gonna run down a few things. This is basically the last week through the weekend, maybe a few days next week for anyone to donate new unwrapped toys to Cole's Toy Drive. I believe the officers have things set up to deliver to the hospitals next Wednesday and Thursday. Accompanied by, from what I'm being told, Santa Claus is gonna make his appearance with us, so that's all scheduled and ready to go. So if anyone wishes, you can drop the toys here or various other places throughout the community. But we're more than willing to take them and get them where we need to. I think the troop family is sorting probably as we speak. Officer Fisher, our SRO, attended a week-long NASRO training. I think that stands for the National Association of School Resource Officers. That was held in Arizona, I believe it was last week. Thankfully, we were able to save a little money on that trip by Officer Fisher staying with some family while he was out there. So it was, we were able to do that and get him to, I think this is his first national conference. He has indicated to me that he is going to be taking some online trainings, doing some other things where he hopes to become what's called a NASRO practitioner. I think that means he could also present at various functions through the school resource officer program. So as we talk about that, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but it's my understanding that the school board is going to be discussing, I think their meeting may be on the 19th, so I don't want to overstep bounds in any way, shape, or form, but I'm feeling positive from the feedback I've gotten that the school district is going to increase their funding in reference to the school resource program. Members of Denver Borough Council, Denver Borough Manager, myself, Dr. Musser and Dr. Melnick met, had discussions in reference to the funding of the program, and that was initiated by Denver Borough. I was asked to attend and obviously was happy to do so and provide any information. And the school resource program ordinance agreement with Denver Borough is going to occur Monday night, and also Monday night. And it's looking now, and it needs to be approved by the school board, but it's looking at this point that the school will increase the funding from 60% to 75%, with the municipalities paying 25%. Again, I don't want to, that's the impression that I received, that is my thought. I'm not speaking for anyone else, so I don't want to upset anyone or anything like that, but that's where it's looking. It's just the dates of the meetings fell a little bit different. So I'm hoping that we step in that positive direction and get a little more funding from the school. Again, the cooperation that occurs between the school district, the police department, and the members of Denver Borough Council is tremendous. They see the importance of the program, as many citizens. The department obviously sees the benefit to having a school resource officer. And one of the things that occurred, I believe it was yesterday, with the ongoing renovations at the high school, we had numerous members of the department scheduled to take a tour of the high school, and they did that yesterday afternoon and then yesterday evening for the different shifts. Officer Fisher was in court during the day, excuse me, in the afternoon, but Mr. Price from the school, the high school, took the officers on a tour. It was very informative. We need to know the layouts of the buildings, and the building construction is ongoing, but it's nearing where the floor plan isn't going to change that much. So just things like that occurring all the time. I will note that the dampers that we talked about numerous times in the police department, in the lab and the lockup room, were fixed by Haller this week. So they are functioning, and the two individuals that were here working on those began to map the system, the HVAC system, just where they work, but they said if they come back, and they will try and do it for anyone else that is downstairs working on things where they would need to mark with little stickers in the area of the ceiling tiles, so they're not searching as much in the future if something goes wrong. They also removed the pump to rebuild that pump that was leaking, so that's in the process. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be finished, so they can redo that, but we are running on one. Hopefully everything goes good with that, so we still have heat.
Did the dampers get done at the bid price on that?
Yes, they did.
Good.
Yes, they had to revisit that, but I got an email saying that the damper quote would be the same, so
Good.
that occurred.
Good.
So we didn't need any other motions or anything.
Good.
And finally, I am very happy to announce that I got notice this afternoon, probably whatever time it was, 3:30, 3 o'clock, sometime in there, that we are one of 4 police departments and 5 if you include the county commissioners, to receive grant funding from the PCCD grant fund that was available. It was initially put out that departments throughout the state were eligible to apply for a grant up to $1 million for various programs, various equipment. Many things were covered in that grant funding request. So I would like to thank Judy for all her help on that, and especially Mike Hession, or Judy and Mike Hession, for all their support and help during the grant process. It was quite extensive, but when you're asking for $1 million, that's what it is. We were granted $114,861. And don't ask me what it's for out of the program, because they did not specify. I think they wanted to get the information out as quickly as possible. They had their meeting yesterday, so they indicated in the email, and I have the list of all the departments from throughout the state on various things. And it's quite extensive, so I understand that they'll be in contact indicating what we receive or will be receiving that $114,000 for. But good news today, especially when we're talking about a budget. So we'll wait and see, and I will inform everyone when I find out.
Chief, do you know how many, that was a pretty extensive list who applied, right? Do you know how many
It
actually?
was, and this list, it starts on page 1 and goes through, and if you can see, the font isn't the biggest, so, and it goes to the middle of page 3, and this page, or these papers, are only the people that received the grant. It's not departments that applied and didn't receive any.
So only 5 in we're one of the 5 in Lancashire County.
In Lancashire County for that grant. There are different grants, gun violence, some things in reference to juvenile justice and that type of thing. But there were 4, one of them is Lancaster City that was included in that. But so I'm very happy and thankful for the support. But when we know what we can spend the $114,000 on, we will start to move in that direction. It is a grant that covers the year 2023 and 24. So depending on what they're funding, some may be spent next or this coming year and the following.
I guess some notable numbers off of that list look like the city of Philadelphia got 21 million, and the city of Pittsburgh got 17,598,000.
And if you look at the other grant, the city of Philadelphia got another 20 million. So I believe their total was 45 million.
Yeah.
But we were fortunate to get something, so I'm very thrilled and happy about that. So,
Well, glad to be on the list and not being informed.
I agree.
Something's better than nothing.
Magic trees continue to sprout.
Hey, I also wanted to say thank you to the chief. Last Thursday, we had a crew in the building here cleaning the heating, air conditioning units, and the manager's office, the mold remediation, and none of the board was here, but it became a bit chaotic, I guess, at times. The authority was having a bid meeting here, and the room was full of people for that, and the chief stepped in and handled some necessary instructions to these folks that needed to happen, and did a very good job with that. So thank you for stepping in for that. Yeah. So.
Thank you. Any questions for the chief? Okay, thanks, chief. Okay, financial administration, Judy.
Yes. Okay, so I have my usual monthly reports. I have the balance sheets for each of the funds, the budget status reports for each of the funds. I've included the cash receipts report for December 1st through December 13th. And I have several motions that need to be made. This is housekeeping for year end. This is to clear up interfund balances between the funds. There's about, 7 or 8 of them here, so we'll get started on those. The first one is a motion to transfer $164.55 from Ephrata National Bank Light Fund to the Ephrata National Bank General Fund account. This is a reimbursement for tax collector payroll.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any questions or comments on that one? Seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries.
Okay, the next motion is a transfer of $148.60 from Ephrata National Bank Hydrant Fund to the Ephrata National Bank General Fund. Again, this is a reimbursement for tax collector payroll.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any comments or questions on that one? Seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries.
Okay, the next is a transfer of $9,381.99 from Ephrata National Bank Traffic Impact Fund to the Ephrata National Bank General Fund, and this is reimbursement for 2022 invoices paid from the General Fund for engineer and legal services performed on behalf of the Traffic Impact Fund, net of receipts for traffic impact fees paid.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that one.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any comments or questions on that one? Seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries.
Next is a transfer of $111,807.10 from the Univest ARPA Fund bank account to the Ephrata National Bank General Fund. This is reimbursement for 2022 invoices. This is
Misprint.
Let me look at my list. I did tell her the wrong thing. So this is actually 2022 invoices. If you look at the budget status report, you'll see the various things that are being reimbursed. For instance, there would be the payroll for the internship program, some of the records management fees to Iron Mountain, some of the work that was done on the HVAC, the generator purchase. There's a 50% deposit, even though we haven't received the generator yet. The member contribution for the pension fund, we reduced the contribution from 5% down to 2.5%, so the ARPA fund is making up the difference. Let's see, the breathalyzer, the preemption devices on Route 272, the FS4 farm cooperation payments, and then the projects at Reamstown Heights and Rose Hill. Those are the reimbursements that make up this $111,000.
Are you confident we're done there for year end?
No, I'm sure there will be more, and hopefully that will have to be done at
next meeting.
December 29th meeting, or it'll carry over into 2023.
Got it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. That motion carries.
Okay, and the next one is a motion to transfer $14,388.85 from the Ephrata National Bank General Fund bank account to the Ephrata National Bank State Liquid Fuels Fund. This is the money from the state for the 2022 snow removal contract. In the past, we have put that money in our liquid fuels fund, which is allowed, and we save that money for road projects. That money was deposited in the general fund bank account on October 11th, 2022.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that one.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second. Any questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries.
Okay, we have a transfer of $34,693 from the Ephrata National Bank Developer Escrow Bank account to the Ephrata National Bank General Fund account. And this is for the release of escrow funds for the Russell Stormwater Plan on June 16th, 2022.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that one.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any comments or questions on that one? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, last one, a motion to transfer $15,100 from Ephrata National Bank General Fund bank account to the Ephrata National Bank Traffic Impact Fund bank account. This is for impact fees received in checks combined with engineer and solicitor reimbursements from Earth, Turf, and Wood for $3,775 and Red Run Exhaust for $11,325.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that one.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's
Motion carries.
the end of those motions. I did make some notes for the board on the budget status reports, just since we're winding down to the end of the year here, where I am expecting to still get some revenues in. We'll probably get about $230,000 to $250,000 more for earned income taxes, LST taxes, and also from Denver Borough and the school district for the school resource officer and the crossing guards. So we're still expecting those reimbursements. Let's see what else. And then I also have some explanations on some revenues that came in over budget. The refund of prior year expenditures, that was for money we received from Benecon for rebates on our health insurance. So they're gonna offset overages and expenses for the healthcare reimbursement account that wasn't budgeted. And then I have notated that the 2023 bond premiums were paid in 2022, and that's why we have some budget overages there. Anything highlighted in yellow is that's final numbers that we have a lot less expenses than what we thought.
And Judy, just for clarification for the public, those overages on like things like the bond, they were paid this year because the due dates were due this year.
Yes, and I
We couldn't
believe
pay them in '23. It's just the way the cycle sits for the insurance bonds.
I believe I did ask the board for direction at one of the prior meetings
Right.
that would be the way to handle that. Let's see. There's an explanation for the MVR camera repairs. That was an adjustment we had to make to the 2023 budget. We initially thought that bill would be for 2 years. We budgeted the $28,400. So this year we'll have a bill come in for $10,840, and then in 2023 a second bill will come in for the same amount. And I believe that's about it, unless the board has questions on any of the line items.
Nothing tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the roadmaster report. I'm gonna table this one to the next meeting because I know the road crew was quite busy today.
A little bit this morning.
Just a little
He is
busy.
with us on Zoom.
What's that?
Oh,
Brad is with us on Zoom.
He is with us, okay. Sorry, Brett, anything you'd like to say for the roadmaster's report? So he listened to me and he hung up.
He fell asleep while the meeting.
Okay, we'll table that. I know they were very busy this morning, obviously. Okay, the building and zoning report, I have it here from Technicon. We all have a copy here. They did a pretty extensive one. I just want to highlight a couple of things for the public. So there was a total of 37 permits that were issued, and the total value of the 37 permits that were issued was $3,742,783.70. So $3.7 million in permits. The other item is, I think it's important to highlight for them, is they currently have 7 active complaints on zoning and building issues that they're working on, and they did close 3 complaints on building and zoning items that they were working on. Okay, MS4 coordinator, Ken.
Yes, the one thing I want to talk about tonight is the Iron Streamback restoration project. We received in draft documents from the company doing it to be our contracts relative to that project. I sent them off to the attorney Bernadette to review. She sent them back with some corrections on them, which I believe you have those up front. And we can go ahead and send them off to the company doing the project, RES, to get their attorneys to deal with updating them, and then you can deal with that contract version later, or you can go through those if you have any questions or want to discuss it, or if you have any questions on the project in general.
Gentlemen?
I guess they were finally happy to hear from us, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
It's probably gonna be a pretty extensive project, so I guess this was the first thing I gave you direction on doing, so it seems like the ball's rolling down the hill the proper way and time frame, I guess, so that's good.
Yeah, I talked to them about time frame. They said with all the permitting and design that have to be done, kind of do some surveying to get it all started. It probably wouldn't see any earth moving or any action in terms of building it until at least September of next year.
Looking forward to it.
The details in there, the one thing that we need to do is to not have that project area conflict with the area that Mr. Rudd is farming. And that, I did the drawings of the fields he's using. I did manage to get them so that they don't conflict. And once they get started, they'll mark the boundaries so he knows what his limits are in that farming area.
This will come back to you again,
Right.
so at this point, it's in progress.
Right. Okay, thank you, Ken. Any questions for Ken? Okay, seeing none. Treasurer's report, list of bills.
Treasurer's report, okay. Total general fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $51,577.49, with a starting date of 12/1 to an ending date of 12/12. Are there any questions on that list as presented? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. You already asked for questions. Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, motion carries.
Okay, we have an electronic payment list of bills in the amount of $81,504.06 for a payroll dated 11/23 to, for a payroll date period of 11/6 to 11/19 of 2022. Is there any questions on that? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
Okay, and then here we have an electronic payment list of bills in the amount of $85,865.83 for a pay period of 11/20/22 to 12/3 of 2022. Is there any questions on that one? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, motion carries.
And then we have a check payments for the Light Fund bank account, list of bills in the amount of $13,693.59 with a check dated of 12/9/2022. Any questions there? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, motion carries.
Treasurer's report for the
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Gentlemen, I'd like to make a motion at this time to amend the agenda. Under the management and informational items, I want to add a third item there, C. That is a LOI that I'd like to read. That's a letter of intent. So I would like I'm making a motion to amend the agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so for item A, on the council has requested that we table this item for now for the volunteer who submitted a resume.
I think, at least until the reorg meeting, with everything going on with other staffing positions, et cetera, we should be in a position by the reorganization meeting to understand where we are, and particularly at the director level. So that'll be the January 3rd meeting of the board.
Thank you. Okay, the second item there for management items, emergency services potential ARPA reimbursement. I believe that is the gas, all the expenses that came
reimbursement,
in
yeah.
and the reimbursements.
For the 3 fire companies. I did some addition. Thank you to all 3 companies. No.
You need to show the public that.
Yeah, all right.
High technology.
Yes,
You did it in ink.
I got my tablet and
You
chisel.
did it in ink.
Did you use an abacus?
Tablet.
If you used a spreadsheet, I could have double checked it.
Yeah, well,
That's
no,
okay.
this is all me. Thank you to the 3 fire companies for submitting their fuel reimbursements. I took numbers from the checks as they were submitted. That was the proof of validation of the fuel that was used. There was also quite a few expenses for equipment maintenance and such submitted as well by all 3 companies. The end result of that is the 3 companies ran over the total of ARPA funds that we had available just on the fuel.
which we expect.
Just on the fuel. You know, my abacus needs to be validated by our financial administrator, but, the totals I came up with was, Stevens Fire Company at $2,796.70 for fuel. The Smokestown Fire Company of $3,372 for fuel. And the Reamstown Fire Company of $9,454.60 in fuel, for a grand total of $15,623.30 for fuel. So the dollar figure overruns our ARPA available money. So the board dilemma is, what do we want to do about that?
Well, we had talked about it in the very beginning when we had said it. So really, it's just a confirmation of what we had discussed and agreed to do, which was, if it ran over, we would take the ARPA funding, divide that by the 3 companies, and allocate that money out to the 3 companies. So that would,
How about a different idea? Use up the ARPA money for the 3 companies, and since we have some general fund balance, I think we're only looking at less than $2,000 more. Reimburse the whole fuel amount, make up the balance out of the general fund. We're talking about basically $2,000. Is that doable from your bookkeeping standpoint, Judy?
Sure.
yes.
So I mean, that pays the whole fuel bill, no allocations.
So just for clarification, when we say we're dividing the 3, I saw there was 2 lower and 1 more significant by 2 times. If we're dividing by 3, are we taking in consideration their repair bills as well if we're dividing by 3? Or, because remember, we had asked for, if we're talking strictly fuel for bookkeeping, and because the trees don't come for free, the money off the trees, we ask for valid proof of payment, voided checks, and all that. So if one fire company's voided checks are 2,000, the other one's 3,000, the other one's 7,000, if we're going based off of fuel receipts, how are we going to, for bookkeeping purposes, if we get audited, how can we split the pig down the middle by 3? You know what I mean? If the receipts don't say that, are we taking in consideration the repairs as well to split it 3 ways, or?
Well, that would be, if you were looking at repairs only, that I didn't calculate that number to be fair. But that was easily another $10,000
Okay.
between the 3 companies.
Right, so-
Easily.
So-
even they did themselves in repairs.
Yeah.
Right, so let's take a step back. The original motion, the original intent, and what we had agreed to do was to take the fuel costs and the repair costs, have them submit everything in, and then allocate that for the balance. Okay, so now we're deviating from the original intent, okay, so, which means we're gonna need to make a motion for just the fuel versus the repair costs.
We'll need a motion, absolutely.
So,
What I'm saying is, if we do that, correct? It's not gonna be to what you just said. We're gonna equally divide over the 3 fire companies.
that's what Jeff is saying.
So
No, I said to reimburse each company based on the fuel receipts that were submitted.
Oh, straight receipts?
Yes.
Okay.
only on the fuel,
Only on the fuel, because that exceeds the ARPA money that we have.
and the remainder of it, grab it from the.
from the general fund.
But again, then that means the repair portion we're not reimbursing.
Well, I mean, if you wanna find how many thousand more dollars, what's that?
No,
It's so,
it's not what the number is, Jeff.
Yeah.
Following your
it's the
thought,
intent.
following your thought process, the original spirit of the motion was for
Fuel.
fuel only.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So, does that answer your question?
You're following what I'm saying?
Yes, but the receipts came in, so Judy, you have all the receipts that are auditable, documented, because we need that in our files for our,
We all got it.
we all have it,
We all have it.
right? So, it's just a matter of you making a motion then.
Well, I'm asking the board if they're agreeable with the idea.
There's a difference there. Well, there's a difference because now we're discussing also getting other money out of
General fund.
one of our funds to cover the actual true cost
You're,
to the fuel.
Sure.
We're dipping in another pot here.
Yeah.
you're taking funds out of reserve, where the original intent was to liquidate the leftover funds from ARPA and provide those to the fire company. Yes, that's why, technically, it's a significant change.
So,
That's why
so
you
do we
motion.
liquidate the ARPA funds and the story?
Yeah.
And whoever eats the remaining costs? Or do we feel that the right thing to do is let's pay for their fuel and let's find the other $2,000 and pay for
All the fuel.
all the fuel? And again, I think that's only to, Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, a couple weeks ago, right? It's not the true 2022.
That is correct, that would have probably been as of the end of November, maybe.
Correct.
There was some November receipts there, yeah.
So, but this is my proposal, right? To keep it fair, as RC had mentioned, you send us receipts till the end of 2022. Right now, we have up till November, okay? So, let me finish. If we give them this portion, right, and we're gonna grab another $2,000 out of the general fund to make up that difference, let's take in consideration if it's another $4,000 to $5,000. If we're gonna cover all their fuel, we're gonna cover all their fuel
For the whole year.
for the whole entire year.
All right, that's where you're.
If we're gonna do that. If we're gonna liquidate just that one ARPA fund, it's a different story.
Well, here's the issue, and once again, Judy, correct me if I'm wrong, we wanted to get those ARPA funds spent this year to get that out the door, that portion of it.
Lorenzo raises an excellent point, which is the snapshot in time was 2022 for the fire companies. And the snapshot in time, we estimated probably what was gonna come in, we'd use up 100% of the ARPA funds, that was the original intent. Now, if you're going into the general fund for it, your snapshot in time
Should be the whole year.
is still, we made a commitment to them, a snapshot in time, so we should at least keep that commitment through the end of the year,
To the end of the year.
okay? So one way that can be done is we can make a motion for the ARPA funds. Matt, correct me if I'm incorrect. You make a motion for the ARPA funds to get the ARPA funds distributed, finalize that motion, okay? And those ARPA funds are split three ways. The delta, the balance, then through the end of the year is allocated via the general fund funds.
And that'll be,
2023.
And that is actually then paid in 2020, right at the beginning of 2023, because you have an accurate reflection through the end of the year.
By the time they get us the numbers and we
Correct.
do that,
it might be February until they get.
but at least we're saying it now that they
Let's
get.
let's just say, you can say in the motion, the intent is to have them completed within the first quarter. Just in case it slips in the second meeting of February and we don't have all the information by the first.
We should
So just say first
we should
quarter.
probably do two motions here then.
That's what I'm saying, it's two motions. So the first, so
Judy, do you have that ARPA number?
Yes.
14,396, right?
Yeah. 14,396 and 71 cents,
Good job.
approximately.
Go ahead.
So here's, I'll make that motion, okay? So I'll make the motion that the remaining ARPA funds for $14,396.21 are, 71 cents, are distributed to our 3 volunteer fire companies, and that those funds are split evenly within the 3, and that takes the ARPA to 0 for 2022.
So
I'm confused by the word
evenly, that's where I was that's what I'm trying to figure out. You said that earlier, and that's why I'm saying, truly, it's not split evenly. That's where I'm coming to.
But if you do that now, then the other ones that are gonna come in are gonna get allocated properly. You make the adjustments when you do.
Well, for bookkeeping purposes,
Okay.
how, that's my thing, are we bringing, like, Stevens has the less of all, right? To bring them at a third of the pie, we have to bring in repair bills to that. So if we're gonna do that, I'm fine with it, but we have to be clear on it.
Well, that penalizes me for my donations, is what that does, because I'm ours, we will donate.
So let's do it this way. Let me rescind that motion, and I'll make the motion this way. I'll make the motion that we allocate to the 3 volunteer fire companies a total of $14,396.71, which is the balance of the ARPA funding in 2022. And based off the receipts that were received, Reamstown is, of the $14,396.71, Reamstown's appropriate portion is $9,454.60. Smokestown's portion is $3,372. Stevens' portion is $2,796.70.
And that's
That
if
answers your question.
that's if his numbers are right.
Upon validation by our financial administrator.
Because of the handwriting.
And the abacus.
I'll be honest, this bothers me a little bit. Just throwing it out there.
Yep, got it.
It bothers me a little bit because in the motion, we said about the fuel, but we also said about the repairs. So are we gonna discuss the additional stuff as well? I wanna know that before I go along with this motion.
I'm sorry, for clarification, because that's how I'm thinking. Now, the next portion, you have to do repairs. And if we're doing it this way, you have to do repairs and you have to do fuel, because that was the spirit of what we agreed to in the first motion.
But we're already off track. Because the original intent was the ARPA. These things came in more than ARPA, and now we are dipping into the general fund. And we have other bills that are coming in for repairs. So technically, the original intent was just get our ARPA funds. Jeff opened the can about let's touch the general fund to make up for the difference, but now the bigger question is, there's a lot more bills than just $2,000. So it bothers me to move forward with this motion because I think we're not at the motion part yet. There's still more discussion to be had.
So it's your idea to just proportionately use the ARPA funds, nothing more?
Listen, what I want to do may not agree with RC or you. And I'm not sure I want to throw out what I want to do.
Okay.
We all know our fire companies are looking to get any help they can. Our fire companies don't get donations like they wish. We already know financially how our fire companies are. And the times, we just went through 2 years of COVID, they weren't able to fundraise, they weren't able to do all these other things, you know? I heard the chief of Smokestown talk about his parking lot all the time, it's gonna cost him $100,000. I haven't talked to Chad, but I'm sure there's stuff over there. I haven't talked to Scott, I'm sure there's stuff over there. My original intent would have been we gotta step up our game on the donation side.
I'll comment on that, that was part of the budgeting process, I guess. If there was more money to be delivered, the discussion should have been had throughout the budgeting process.
I'm sorry, I'm the new guy. I'll use that excuse till next month. I'm still the new guy. I'm in the process of learning. And I should have brought that up because I've always believed in giving back to them because they're strictly volunteers. And I know you guys have upped it in the past, but they are going against a lot of financial burdens. At the end of the day, they're there to serve us when their phones ring. So, again, to Mr. Maxwell's point, there's $3.2 million just sitting there. I don't want to see that drained. I don't even want to think about that. But what's an extra X amount of dollars to a volunteer fire company? I'm just throwing it out there because it's my true feeling. And I didn't want to move forward with that motion because we needed that. We have to have this discussion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was, I guess in the last several years, the dollar amount was upped, all the way around. We paid for, what was it, the
Air packs for
air packs, the grant writer.
The grant writer, the air packs, the radios,
We've
stepped up on a lot of things.
We've done quite a bit on a lot
When
of
we're
different
aware of
items.
We need some help.
That's stuff that I guess the general public doesn't always see, but we did quite a bit there. So, not that we can't do more, but, I think the original intent of this was to get rid of the ARPA money, use that extra ARPA money. So.
Well, you open the can of touching
Alright.
I'm just saying it how it is. You open the can of covering the rest with the
general
fund.
For that receipts
fully
that we
open the
have.
door.
Alright.
I don't know what the other receipts are and if we even want to go down that road, but I'm just saying, to be clear, and obviously we can't have these discussions behind closed doors. Decisions are made here in public. So it's good to have these kind of conversations and hash everything out and figure out a plan.
Okay, so as a point of order, there is a motion on the table. If there's no second, we're right back to where we were before, which is fine. So,
And once
so I'm hearing that there's no second.
Well, hold on a minute. Please repeat your motion.
I gotta go from memory. So the motion was what you were indicating.
Yes.
I made the motion for you. The motion was that the $14,396.71, which is the ARPA balance, that ARPA balance be utilized proportionately based on the receipts that were received that you have here per fire code.
Yeah.
$2796.70 for Stevens. Smokestown was $33.72, and then Reamstown was $94.54.60, and then you added to be confirmed by
the financial administrator. I will second that motion. That cleans up the ARPA money. If you want to do something else, let's talk about that after. That motion's there. The ARPA is done that way. Okay,
Now there's comment, right?
other
Yeah, so we have a motion, we have a second.
motion.
Can I comment?
Absolutely.
So my comment to that is, the numbers you guys both just read off are more than the funds in the account.
That's correct, but the proportionate word means that each
Okay.
one gets whatever the proportion.
All right, no, I missed that.
Each one gets
I think there
proportion.
was a comment out there.
So as an example, Lorenzo.
No, I understand.
Okay.
If it's
I missed
80%
that
or
one.
90% of each number, 93%, whatever it is,
That's fine.
each one gets the
There's
proportion.
a question out there, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Lorraine Cole. I thought the original motion was to split it 3 ways evenly. And all you would have to do is make a motion to say for gas and or repairs. And then you would have your motion and you split it 3 ways between 3 fire companies. That's,
I'm not sure the word
Yeah.
equally was in on that.
We talked about it.
It was proportionate.
I think we spoke about this 2 or 3 times. The original was fuel only,
right.
because I spoke about that. And then I think the second time RC added about the repairs, which we all agreed upon, by the way. So now it came in at this, and that's why I want to create the conversation, because I think we need to go beyond fuel and at least create a conversation.
Yeah, I
We-
agree. I think
we-
all the money they can get.
We were working in the dark. We didn't
Right.
really know how much all
It
the
was gonna
fuel
be.
was gonna be. And it exceeded our ARPA
Yeah.
funds. So, I still feel, let's get that out of the way. If there's something else that wants to be done, then we can talk about that.
To the repairs.
No, I don't have that.
Do you have the repair ones?
I have no total on that. Once I saw that the fuel exceeded the ARPA money, it's like, but they easily exceeded that. Let's vote on what we got.
I have a comment here.
Yes, sir.
In the
No,
letter you sent
sorry.
to Chad Weaver, Stevens Fire Company, the letters you sent to the fire company specified fuel and repairs. There was a lot of legwork done by all 3 organizations to go back to that banks to get them canceled checks. You guys just to throw the one out the door. I don't care what you do, in the end, we get our diesel fuel donated, that's why our expense is so cheap. So for us, this is a moot point in the end. We're appreciative of what comes, but if you're gonna ask us to do the footwork for that stuff, you ought to at least consider there was a lot of time in for all 3 organizations to get that.
A valid point, and I understand, I appreciate all you guys, all 3 of you did, very detailed reports.
That just brings up a little bit of a technical question. Since it's donated, do you get a check back, a donation back based on the receipts that
We
was?
go pump our fuel and walk away. So there's no record keeping on our end for it.
It looked like debits were on your bank account for fuel that was purchased.
That's for our TAC, that cannot have off-road diesel in it. Our older trucks can run off-road diesel in it, the new one cannot because there's some sensor or something that can tell the color of the dye.
So that fuel didn't get accounted for in the, so you
There's
actually,
no expense in that, so
Yeah,
yeah, we
okay.
don't show that.
okay. All right. Thank you for the explanation.
So in reality, Stephen's number could have been close to 4,000 if that off-road wasn't donated.
Maybe there's other donated to the other companies.
Yeah.
We didn't ask that.
Yeah, well, he's here, and that's why I brought it up.
Can you divide the $14,396.71 3 ways?
That's what I had said earlier.
Divide it 3 ways a little.
Well, but they don't have receipts for the ARPA
See,
funds that way.
I
It's
understand that, but I'm sure they
receipt-based.
could provide the repair receipts that would equal whatever they need.
Well, then you
each one.
gotta pay everybody's repair bills too.
But
Now you pay what's available to pay.
Uh,
This is
how-
the amount of money we have,
I don't,
and this is the amount you're getting.
but
and
see, then you're shortcoming even the fuel on the one company.
We have to.
But they're getting the same
Together
amount and
to actually
everything.
make that number work.
Yeah, so-
Do you even need to tie?
So Chief, Chief asked a question, it's a valid question, but just so we're clear. Because it's ARPA funds. And we have, these funds are going,
Yes, you need a receipt for it, I understand that.
right, so the chances of these getting audited at the federal government level.
Then they each get that amount.
Okay,
They don't have.
okay. there's like 4 different conversations going on at the same time.
I got you. I understand.
So to answer your question, so everybody understands, these are federal funds coming from the federal government, they're ARPA funds. We have discussed this many, many times. We absolutely know there's going to be audits done at the municipal level, federal audits for this ARPA funding. That is why we absolutely have to make sure that those receipts and the paper trails are in our files documented, okay? Sorry, Chief, it was a good question, it's just, I want to make that very clear.
Yeah.
That's the hang up.
So a motion on the table. Got a second, right?
Right.
So do we move on from this and talk about the rest, or what's next?
We gotta vote on the motion.
We have one more question. Yes, sir.
Alan Maxwell, just real quick, if we're dealing with this one point right now to get the ARPA funds out, if ARPA's paid out on December 30th, is that still counted towards being paid out on 2022?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So why don't we put a firm proposal together, come together at the 29th meeting and finalize it then? We've had a lot of discussion and no real consensus of what we should do.
We have to come to a conclusion tonight so that the checks can be prepared, so we can approve them at the next
Then
meeting.
go with the fuel only to deplete the ARPA, and then in either the 29th or early January, deal with the balance of December
That can happen.
and receipts. That way we're done, we're moving on from this
Yeah, and
tonight.
that's,
We have a plan in place to move forward.
and that's why the motion is as it is now. That's the idea.
At least clear that up.
He's committed on the reserve funds for the balance.
That was not part of, that was not part of the motion.
Okay, so we have okay,
That's the big,
so point of order. So we have a motion on the table, we have a second on the table. All in favor?
aye.
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 Okay, opposed none, that motion carries.
Thank you, done with ARPA money.
Okay, so the ARPA funds, then Judy, you have what you need for the ARPA funds before the end of the year. Okay, so now the next question.
Until November. They still owe us December.
Correct, they still,
I wouldn't worry about it.
No, you're right,
No, no,
We were
no.
depleting the account, the ARPA fund, you're right.
correct.
You're right.
So now the next question comes in because of the intent of the original motion was the repairs and fuel to the end of the year.
Was that a motion or discussion?
No, I'm asking, that was,
What I threw out.
so was, I'm not following.
Was that a motion or was it just a
No,
proposal
now
for
You were discussing,
Proposal for
you were
discussion.
proposing it. You were proposing that, and I wanted to bring that part up.
That's fair.
So perhaps for the 29th meeting, since we don't have those numbers, we put a placeholder on the agenda. Let's gather the repair bills for all 3 fire companies. And we can discuss it at the 29th meeting. Because if we decide to go down that way, we gotta figure out whose pocket it's coming out of.
And we can pay it next year like we've talked about.
We're not under the time constraint
Exactly right.
for the 22 calendar,
Exactly right.
okay? All right,
Discussion to be had.
okay, thank you.
Wow.
You good with that?
Okay, emergency services.
Listen to that.
Okay, so from the amended agenda, I have something I need to read here. So this was submitted to the board and to Chairwoman Maureen Culp. Board of Supervisors is on copy, and it's a letter of intent. Dear Chairwoman Culp, please accept this letter as my intention to step down from the Rec Board effective December 31st of 2022. I have served East Cocalico Township in various roles on the Recreation Board since being appointed to the board in December of 2012. During that time, I have gleaned much knowledge and wisdom from serving alongside past and fellow and present fellow rec board members and residents of the township. In turn, I hope I was able to assist my community in the furtherance of park and recreational development during my tenure. Although I am making the decision to step down from the rec board, I will continue to avail myself of other opportunities in service to the residents of East Cocalico Township. The lessons I have learned while on the rec board will assist me in future service endeavors. It has been truly an honor and a privilege to be given the opportunity to serve East Cocalico Township in this capacity. Steve Brubaker. Okay, so I believe we need a motion to accept Steve.
Was he up for the appointment?
Wait, was he up for?
I think he might have been, yes.
That means his term just expires.
Okay. Okay, then we'll leave it, if, we'll double check on when his term, we'll double check on when his term is up. Okay, if it expired this year, we don't need a motion. If it didn't expire this year, we'll need a motion. Okay.
Under the second-class township code, that resignation will be considered accepted if you don't otherwise act on it in 45 days. So one way or the other, at your reorganization meeting, you'll have a vacancy.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Even though it won't be 45 days?
We'll figure it out between now.
All right.
Okay, old business, water and sewer authority, township building expansion.
There you go.
I
Table it till we get it.
table that until we get something.
All right.
So liability insurance proposal, Judy and I are meeting on Monday with Kilmer. So we'll be discussing coverages with Kilmer. So that's my action item and Judy's.
Decision's gonna be made.
No, we, Judy,
Informational only.
yeah, that's just
Is the
information.
board invited?
Yeah, if you want.
The time of that meeting is
10:30.
Sure.
AM.
Yes.
I don't have to double check.
No.
Okay,
In chambers.
Yes.
Outside in the parking lot back there,
Yeah. Which parking
Okay.
spot?
next to the pile out back.
Okay.
okay, the other old business item was the K-9 unit for the police department. Do we have anything new on that? No, okay. Moving on. Public comment for non-agenda items. Again, please just state your name clearly so it helps Lisa with the meeting minutes. Any questions?
Alan Maxwell, I'm gonna ask my regular question. Can we get an update on the search? You mentioned earlier on that there were several executive sessions on it. Are we any closer to hiring a manager, or are we back to square one? Where are we at?
In fairness to the board, I answered the first few of those. Lorenzo answered the last one, so we'll turn it over to Jeff to answer this.
Fair enough.
Good, we'll rotate it.
Inquiring minds wanna know.
Someday maybe we'll have an answer. That's all I can say tonight.
So last meeting it was mentioned we were close to making an offer. Now that's not materialized. Are we still in that same position?
Someday maybe we'll be able to answer.
The other question I had was, are we advertising Sharon's role? When do you think that will take place so we can get her position replaced as quickly as possible?
What the board is doing right now, Mr. Maxwell, that one I will answer. What we're doing right now is we're diligently working on the manager's position first. That's our priority right now. And then we're gonna move into, and then we're gonna look at Sharon's position now.
Because having comments the sample thing at this point, so we move forward.
Yes,
I'm okay with her doing
yes,
her job.
yes, in their portion, yes. Yes, sir. Okay, yes, sir.
Tommy Miller. There was a lot of conversation about the emergency services. It's pretty lengthy, just a little bit ago, about giving money, how to propose it, how to do it. We all know they need the help. You guys know it, we know it. I don't think it was probably on the budget for this year, but it does get looked at for future and put it on the agenda, say, hey, going forward, we will do your fueling, your repairs going forward, something to think about. Because you don't want to hear that last word of, there's gonna be a fire tax. You do it a different way. So, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Something to help that.
To your point, next year prior to the budget season, maybe we can, have that brought back up again by our companies. So that we don't forget. Thank you.
Thanks.
Name, please.
Yes.
Lorraine Cole, just some food for thought. I don't know if anybody watched the news the other night, but in Cumberland County, they're looking to start this program for their volunteer firefighters, where if you're a volunteer firefighter and you serve for 6 months, they're gonna knock $250 off your real estate tax. It's some kind of incentive to get volunteers, and you can even go as far as the people that don't own, if they rent, give the reimbursement to their landlord on the condition that they take it off the person's rent. Just something to help get more volunteers out in the community. Good. Yeah, I thought it was real.
I'll fill that one for you. Chad Weaver, Steve's Fire. They have actually come to us over the last couple of years with that. That is actually a burden to the fire department to prove the statuses to meet that criteria. For the volunteers, it's hard to do. Somebody that has a paid person in that position, either at the township level or something else, to do the record keeping, we could do that. So that has been brought to us for previous boards to do look at that. So that has been looked at. It may be looked at again in the near future for somebody closer to actually doing it now.
There was a lot of different proposals talked about tax credits. But there's no easy answer to that to get everybody treated equally.
Right.
From a county level, if a company's near the border and you got people outside the county going to serve, well, they don't get the tax credit.
Exactly right.
It's the same thing when we looked at it locally, on a township tax basis or something. Well, what if somebody's in the next township? And it was even discussed regionally. Well, what about the whole school district? But then there's always somebody on the outside of that. And then what do you do about renters if it's property tax? If there's just no easy way to treat everybody locally, and it was talked about as a burden on the record keeping of the fire company. So the best way to do it would be on a state level. But that even then, there'd probably be somebody over a state line that it just wouldn't work out right then too.
Yeah, and I'll add to what Jeff is saying is, if you recall back at the beginning of the year, I came up with that concept for somehow finding a way to reimburse active volunteers directly via the municipality. And that's fallen by the wayside. It's just such a difficult, challenging way. It's so challenging to figure out how to address that.
The easiest and the cleanest way, give it to the fire company.
Just keep giving donations.
They figure it out on their own.
Okay? So the next Board of Supervisor meeting is on Thursday, December 29th. That will be at 7 p.m. here in person and, of course, live via Zoom. Okay. Then I will remind the public that also the Board of Supervisors has the annual reorganization meeting. That'll be on Tuesday, January 3rd at 7 p.m. here at the Township Building in person and live via Zoom also. So, no need for an executive session tonight. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. Thank you.